found journalists for this teacher pay rise story. So I split it into local and national, and so I've got national journalists, and then I've got local ones based on these metropolitan statistical areas that I divided the data into, right? I haven't quite finished yet, but I'm getting there. So for the national thing, the first thing I do is I go to Wikipedia, and I just Wikipedia national newspapers in the USA, sorry. And this is what I get. And I get the URLs for all of them. So the first one would have been the New York Times, and it's site : whatever the URL is, education reporter. And then it's useful, might be useful to like set results to like a certain amount of time. But all I did was I went through each of them individually, and I looked. So, for example, Sarah Marvosh, you look at the bottom of their recent articles, and you ask yourself two things: do they write about what I'm going to write about, and do they currently write? So, her last article she wrote in October 2023. Sorry, July 2024. June 2024, so she's like borderline, like I might add her to my list. You want to compare them to other people. Diana Goldstein, December 2024, that's what we want, December 2024, November 2024, that is perfect. So you want them to have written at least like one article in the last couple of months. So again, although she mainly writes about politics, it seems, so she would be a no. October, so that's sort of borderline. She writes about school. She writes about schools. Recency would be a bit of an issue, but I would probably still add her to my list. So yeah, that's what you do. You just go through this list, you find the type of reporter who is relevant to your beat, and then you check if they're active. But not every newspaper is covered by this. So the next thing you do is you just Google news relevant topics. So I put in teacher low pay, teacher call for better pay, teacher strikes USA, and I set Google News to last 3 months for all of them. So there's an example of teacher low pay. There's an example of teacher strikes USA. You just scroll down to get all of them. Once you've done that, you just click this. I've spoken about this in lots of my other videos, the SERP scraper. There are loads of ones available. And then you've got to manually like sift through these, and then I filter out ones that are relevant, ones that are local papers. They go in the bin, and then I look at the author and see if they're. And again, I do that author check. Like, are they an active author? Since we've set Google News the last 3 months, they should already be. And do they write about what we're going to write about? So is education a major part of their beat? So in a couple of hours, I managed to get 39 national reporters, and because these are very, very highly qualified, like 40 is actually quite a lot if they're really well qualified. Like, it's quality over quantity of these lists. Local reporter prospecting is actually a bit easier. So what I do is I start with my list of metropolitan areas, and I just put into Google education reporter covering metropolitan area. So the first one is Akron, Ohio. So this is what happens when you Google education reporters covering Akron, Ohio, and you get a list of names. So I've got 1, 2, that's the same person. So 3, 4. So I click through to all of them, and then I do the same test. So I look up for, are they actively writing, and are they writing about schools in our area? So Akron, Ohio. So it's Signal Akron. So she will be writing about schools in our area. Her last article was December the 9th, which is perfect. That's sort of about schools. That's about schools. That's about schools. So I would add her to my list. Connor Morris, education reporting, covers Northeast Ohio, which I know Akron is in Northeast Ohio. And that's about education. That's about education and Akron, and is writing in December. So I'll add him to our list. Emily Banforth, so covering higher education. That you actually don't want that, because higher education means universities. And her last article was about the coronavirus. which makes me think it probably isn't that recent. No, April 2021, so she's not on our list. The last one is Jennifer Pignolet, Akron Beacon Journal. So her last article was about a school in Akron. So was that one. So was that one. December the 13th, December the 10th, December the 10th. So I would add her to my list. And then I just rinse and repeat that for every metropolitan area in the USA to get my local journalists. So overall, you have about 40 to 50 national journalists, and then you'll want 3 to 10 journalists for every local area, which gives you a full list of like over 500 journalists. So you've got a lot of targets to play with, and that will take you admittedly a few days to put together, but that's what it involves. So if you enjoyed that video, you learned something, and you'd like to work with me, you can go to my website at olliebaysdigital.com, or just Google Ollie Bays Digital, which is the name of this channel, and you will find me, and you can find out more about me there, make an inquiry. If you want to just straight up email me, my email address is ollie, O-L-I, at olliebaysdigital.com. And if you just like the video but you don't really want to speak to me, fair enough, but please like, comment and subscribe.